What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here. I want to talk to you today about something that came up, and I understand why this financial coach kind of took offense. Didn't feel like it was justified, but it's how people think. And basically, they went into a financial coaching session, and one of the things that the client or the prospective client at this point, they weren't necessarily a client, wanted to know was how did you get out of your debt? Because if you have debt, I don't know that I want to be coached by someone who hasn't gotten themselves out of debt first. Now, it kind of went on and there were some specifics to this, and I don't want to get into all those, but basically it kind of brings me back to a video that I talked about where authority is different than knowledge. And I think that's what it comes down to at a basic level here. And I want to explain too that I think we can know something knowledge wise. We can have the information on how to do something without having done it ourselves, right? I can tell you potentially how to, I don't know, apply for a particular job, even though I've never applied for that job, right? I can tell you how to apply for a job through LinkedIn or Indeed.com. I've never done it myself, as a person looking for a job. I've never used that tool, but I can explain generally how it works and how you should go through it. And I've done it before because a lot of people are looking for jobs through there. So I just wanted to kind of understand what the process was, right? And people will take that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm an expert at it, but there are some things that people want someone who has done it, not because they just want the knowledge, but they want the nuance, right? And if you are going to tell people, listen, I can tell you how to get out of debt. I can tell you how to pay off all your debt. I can tell you how to be aggressive about it. Dave Ramsey might say gazelle-like intensity on paying off the debt, whatever it might be. But if you're going to do that, I think what it implies is that I can tell you how to do it because I've done it myself, right? And I've had debt before, right? And I have paid it off, and sometimes it's been very slow, just a little bit out of every paycheck. Sometimes I've used some really strange mechanisms to do it, and other times it's just been the old-fashioned way, going out and side hustling for some more money and throwing as much money against debts as I could. So I know some different strategies because I have used them, and I think that gives me the authority to say, hey, here's what we can do. If you can go out and find a side hustle, bring in $30 extra a month, a week, or whatever it is, and we can put that, here's what we'll do, because this is what I did. I would go out and I'd side hustle on this and this and this, and here's some ways that you can make an extra $30 or $50 or $100, right? And just say that. And in fact, there's a friend of mine, she does a lot. She makes all of her income from basically side hustles, and what you would think about demoing the latest bourbon at your alcohol shop. She doesn't actually have a straight 9 to 5. She works basically 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 sometimes, but they're all what most people would consider a side hustle. It's not any full-time gig. So she's very good. She has great authority on talking about all the different sites and the companies that you can work with and all of this. So she's an authority on that. And you want to be an authority on how to pay off debt. Now, if you are going to tell people, hey, I can tell you how to pay off your home mortgage. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have paid off your mortgage, but you have to be using the process, right? And your experience with it. For some people, and there's some financial coaches who have paid off their home, which is awesome too. You can say, listen, I'm going to tell you exactly how we did it. Whether we cut our expenses, whether my spouse and I were both working jobs, whatever the strategies you were using, because the actual experience that you have gives you the authority to talk about it and will resonate with people in a way that just saying, hey, here is some knowledge. I've read an article and here are 4 ways that you can pay off your mortgage early, right? So the experience begets the authority. The knowledge certainly gives you knowledge and certainly gives you credibility, but people often, when they are guided on or want to be guided on a particular topic, want more than the knowledge. They can get that by reading someone else's blog post. I have read so many online posts about how to make side hustle income by people who are not doing it. Take online surveys. That's one I see all the time. And I can tell you that people are not making significant amounts of income taking online surveys. So people who are writing this are just finding other articles and sharing that. That is not authoritative in my opinion. It reminds me also, and this is the example I wanted to bring up. I know a guy who went into a business and he unfortunately failed in that particular business and he went out of business, but he was thinking, how can I generate income? And what he wants to do is be a consultant now to people who are running that business. And when I was asking him, why should people hire you, just to get him to think kind of critically about what he's doing, why would I hire you if you didn't run your business successfully? Why would I take the advice you have? And even though, honestly, you can learn from some of those failures and say, hey, now I know what not to do, right? I know what you should do. Unfortunately, the timing didn't work out for me. Unfortunately, I kind of ran out of time or whatever it is. I learned too late. You actually could be a good consultant for that. But when I was asking him, he said, one of the things that I saw was this research on that people don't care about how much money you made to be an authority. And what he was misunderstanding about that is that if I hire you, let's say I have my little business here. I run this tiny little YouTube financial coaching channel, right? And I want to grow to be a big financial coaching channel. What I don't care about is if I hire someone who says, listen, I can tell you how to grow this channel, and they have 1 million subs, right? That's when it doesn't matter to me. Because what I know about that is you are where I want to get to. I don't really want to get there, but what I don't care is if it's 500,000 subs or 1 million subs or 10 million subs, right? The number is irrelevant. It's more of the fact that I know you are somewhere where I want to go. And you can give me that experience. You can share with me some insights, some real actionable intelligence on how to move in that direction. What I don't want to know is if I have 1,000 subs here and you have 40 subs and saying, listen, I know how to grow your YouTube channel, because you don't have any evidence to say that. And so what he was reading into this data is that people don't care if I made $1 million or I lost $1 million doing that. They don't care about the money. They don't care about the money because they assume that you were successful, and they don't really care about the exact number because it's kind of irrelevant. All they want to know is that you were successful or that you have authority in this subject to pull them along in that direction. But if you don't have the authority, you weren't a success in it, and you don't have that authority, that is relevant. It's not that the amount of money that you made, whether it's $1 million or $1 billion or $10 billion, is relevant. It's that you are making the money, the impact, the growth, whatever it is that I want to make. And if you didn't do that, then it's going to be an uphill battle. Whether or not that's fair, right? Whether or not you have immersed yourself in all the information on how to pay off debt and how to manage it and how to get rid of it and get grants and get it forgiven or whatever, right? You can have all of that good information. But if you're not living it, if you're not executing it on your own, then people are going to naturally say, why is this person giving me advice? Why should I listen to what they're saying if they can't make it on their own? Another example is someone I've been working with, she wants to really focus on how to have a 6-figure income mindset, but she doesn't make 6 figures, right? And so the question is, can you really be a coach? Can you really be an authority on how to make a 6-figure income if you're not making a 6-figure income? Because you might say, listen, I understand the mindset changes and all this and how much you have to work and where you want to put your effort. But if you say you know how to do it and you're not doing it, it either means, 1, you don't know how to do it, or 2, you know how to do it, but you're just choosing not to. And most people, I think, as a prospect or a prospective client, most people would say, I don't think you really know how to do it then, right? Because if you really knew how to do it, you would be doing it. If it were as straightforward as you're saying to pay off debt or to make 6 figures or whatever it might be, then you would be doing it. So for the most part, I think even though sometimes it's not completely fair, sometimes you can be a really good guide or mentor or coach on some of these topics, even though you are struggling with some of these things on your own. And sometimes that can give you some empathy. Some people want to know that you had a lot of debt. Some people don't mind that you have debt. It was just a lot more debt, right? That you've come to this place, right? That you've made it from here to there. And so it's that progress. And that's the fact that you're telling people how to pay off your house because you're paying it off much quicker than you are scheduled to. It's not that you haven't paid it off completely. But if you have, that gives you even a little bit more authority. It might not be fair because you might have all this information, you might have this knowledge, you might have all these insights that you can share with people. But until you are living, breathing, executing on it on your own, a lot of people are going to be leery of it. And so I would maybe hold back from leaning into things that maybe you say I am an authority on, but you don't necessarily have the proof of it yet, right? Because people are going to not just wanting to challenge you or play devil's advocate or be a jerk to you, but people are going to say, in maybe more couched ways or more friendly ways, but if you have debt, why should I come to you to pay off debt? If you are going to be my financial coach, what makes you such an expert? What certifications do you have? How did you become successful in your own way financially? Whatever it might be, right? People are going to ask these questions because they want to know that you can help them get to where they want to go. So if you're not living it, breathing it, what I would say is live it, breathe it, internalize it, right? Make some progress on your own. Get a couple steps towards getting ahead in your mortgage, getting your debt paid down. And that way, even though you might be a ways off from accomplishing any one of those things in totality, you will have some of that actionable experience that you are able to share with people. So hopefully that helps. I'll talk to you later.